driver of the day is making his way to the start line to see how those concrete walls feel.
Yeah. Hold your breath, Ian. It's about to get underway here in Torun. We've never seen anything quite like this before, and our first driver is on the line.
Yeah, our first driver, a new driver to the championship, Dave. That will be Mevlud Melads, and this guy coming all the way from Georgia.
Yeah, and he's also coming from a rally background,
yeah,
I believe.
a whole stack of championships under his belt.
3-time Georgian Formula Drift Championship. He's also got a couple of podiums in rallies. This guy's got a lot of experience. He's driving an E36, 4.4 V8, 550 horsepower, and coming in just a little bit off that outer line.
Yeah, a very, very risky entry there. Almost tagged the back bumper, but you can see him drop off that outside zone, and you can see Card maybe just lacking a little bit of power. Now, listen, for me, I looked at this circuit a week ago and said, this track doesn't demand power, Dave. This is an easy circuit. Was I wrong?
You're generally wrong, Ian, and that goes without saying. But he's tagging a wall there on the last run. But you know what? A tidy run, trying to get out to those outer zones, but dropping a little bit off. Remember, they're banked corners, so you got to stay in it to stay up high on those banks. And again, you can imagine, first time in the championship for Mevlud from Georgia. He's got a little bit of trouble here, saying, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to take a handy first run, a tentative first run, put a score on the board, and have a little think and see where everybody else lies. You don't want to be the first guy out there and bin the car, and then you're out of the whole competition. So I can imagine we will see some tentative runs as we go through the order. Next up, there you go, from Mevlud Meladze from Georgia. He gets a 63.7. Not a bad first run, not a bad opening statement in the Drift Masters European Championship for him.
Into the second runs, and as we can see, first guy on the line, and that will be Mevlud Melaz. This guy needs a big score on the board, currently sits outside top 32, but yeah, I mean, like you say, we see that is very important, you saying about those de-acceleration zones. I watched it earlier in the twin battle practice. A lot of chase drivers taking that opportunity to get on the door and push hard and taking note of where the lead car is slowing down. So yeah, I mean, tomorrow head-to-head action is going to be very, very intense.
Yeah, it should be really fun to watch, and you start to see more or less where I think the cutoff mark is going to be. We saw a number of different 80s. We saw a lot of guys in the 70s. I think the 60s are going to go away. Probably the low 70s are probably going to go away. There were 10 drivers that didn't get a score or didn't make it to the line, so that's obviously going to factor in to see how they do on their run if they make it up to the line.
Exactly. So sitting with a 63 currently is Mevlud. He puts down a good run. Is it enough to break inside top 32? Well, we're going to find out. Like you say, you know, you're going to eventually start seeing the 60s and 70s dropping away. And I predicted a top 10 of 90s. We're not far off it now, and you know, I can see those scores are slowly creeping up as we move forward, and a lot of guys are going to be pushing hard. So, big things to be expected from these guys as we await to get a score there from Mevlud, and judges just discussing that one. The Georgian driver making his first appearance here at Drift Masters European Championship.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see where this qualifying reminds me a lot of FD qualifying in a certain kind of way. There's a precedent that started in the first run. You start to see those low scores drop off, and obviously maybe a few more pop into the 90s. The judges seem to be pretty consistent of what they're looking for, what's important to them, and the guys that have a lot of confidence are the guys that you see in those high 80s, low 90s, and they'll usually back that up, or maybe they'll go for broke and we'll see some nice wrecks.
That's what we like to see. You know, we often see that a lot of the guys that are feeling confident, you know, they're sitting with an 80, a mid-pack score, and they'll fire them cars in and try and go for broke, you know, try and get inside that top 10. A 76 for Mevlud in his second run drops him into 22nd position at the moment. Not sure if he's safe enough for top 32, like you say, Ryan.